Hi, this is an interview for Edularity. Today we are with Dr. Brian Ray. What about homeschooling? Do you have some research just concentrating on unschooling?
Personally, I have not done anything that just concentrates on unschooling,
Okay.
but there have been some studies. In my studies, especially like nationwide studies, state-specific studies, and other studies, I just collect data on everybody and anybody, whether they were unschooled more or less, or eclectic homeschooled or more or less, or very structured homeschooling more or less. I just include all those families and students, and then in those studies, I have on occasion separated out statistically those different variations. So that's kind of fun, but I've not specialized any one of those. But in those studies, to me, it's kind of interesting. For example, in some of my nationwide studies, I asked parents, at what age did you start the formal instruction of your child? And then they just tell me an age. And then I ask one other question. How structured is your curriculum or homeschooling on a scale of 1 to 7? That's all I ask. Very simple. Just to try to capture a little bit of the concept of unschooling,
Right.
middle-ish, very structured. It's unsophisticated, but I did that. And when I analyzed that to students' academic achievement test scores, I found no correlation on standardized tests. So in other words, whether they started structured learning very early or later, whether they were more unschooled or less, in the end, it seemed to be no significant difference on standardized test scores in reading, writing, arithmetic, science, and math. Very interesting. Now, one study that was done in Canada when they looked at very young children, only about 9 years old, they said that the more structured homeschooling students did better on tests than the unschoolers.
Yes.
But it's only 9 years old. And the researchers, I think, very wisely said, however, we don't know. Maybe by the time they're 12 or 17, there will be no difference in their test scores. And I think that's very possible, like not much difference. And I think that, Mariana, because whether I personally would be a more structured or less structured teacher, I believe that even in the, quote, unschool families, from my experience with them, they still have goals and objectives. I've never met an unschool family who said, I don't care whether my child learns how to read. That would be 1 in a million, But they are encouraging curiosity, and they're encouraging self-initiative. And by the time they get older, on average, they tend to be more excited and better learners than those who go to institutional schools.
I definitely agree. My eldest daughter just presented her GED and she passed them all except for math. What she was saying, I knew it all. The only problem is that I didn't measure the time correctly. So she's not used to do exams.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's interesting you mention that, because I can't remember the name of the person who did the study, but they were looking at transition to university. And it said after a while, after 3 months or so, the home educated are doing fine or better. But at first, one of their main problems is not academics. It's getting used to the system.
Yes, exactly.
So they have to learn the system to do well in the system.
Are you listening? Damn.